Because of Winn-Dixie, Chapter 8. Winn-Dixie bald spot started growing fur, and the fur that he had to bring would start looking shiny and healthy, and he didn't limp anymore, and you could tell that he was proud of looking so good, proud of not looking like a starry. I thought what he needed most was a collar and a leash, so I went into Gertrude's Pets, where there were fish and snakes, and mice and lizards and gerbillies and pet pillies, and I found a real hand, some red leather collar with a matching leash. Winn-Dixie was not allowed to come inside the store. There was a big sign on the door that said no dogs allowed. So I held the collar and the leash up to the window, and Winn-Dixie, who was standing on the other side of the window, pulled up his lip and showed me his teeth and sneezed and wagged his tail, something for us. So I know he absolutely loved that leash and color combination, but it was very expensive. I decided to explain my situation to the man behind the counter. I said, I don't get a big enough allowance to afford something this fancy, but I love this color and leash, and so does my dog, and I was thinking that maybe you could sit me up on an installment plane, said the man. Gertrude, somebody screamed in a real taking voice. I looked around. It was a portrait. She was sitting on top of one of the fish tank, looking right at me. On this installment plane, I sat in ground the prot. You know where I promised to give you my allowance every week, and you give me the leash and the collar. I don't think I can do that, said the man. He shook his head. No, the other, she wouldn't like that. He looked down at the counter. He wouldn't look at me. He had thick black hair, and it was slicked back like Elvis Presley. He had on a name tag that said Otis, or I could work for you. I said I could come in and swept the floor and fixed the shelves and take out the trash. I could do that. I looked around Gardner's pets, Gertrude's pets. There was sand and sunflower seed, shell, and big dust bunnies all over the floor. I could tell that it needed to be swept. Oh, said Otis. He looked down at the counter somewhere. Gertrude the proud scream again. I'm real thirsty, I said. I'm no in town, but my daddy is a preacher. He's the preacher at the Open Arms Baptist Church of Naomi. So I'm real honest, but the only thing is Winn-Dixie, my dog, he would have to come inside with me, because if we got separated for too long, he starts to howl something treble. Gertrude doesn't like dogs, said Otis. Is she the winner? I asked. Yes, I meant. No, I meant. He finally looked it up. He pointed at the fish tank that Gertrude, the parrot, I named it here after the owner. Gertrude, a pretty bird, screamed. Gertrude. She might like Winn-Dixie, I told Otis. Almost everybody does. Maybe he could come inside and meet her, and if the two of them get along, then could I have the job? Maybe. Otis numbered. He looked down at the counter again. So I went and opened the door, and Winn-Dixie came trotting on inside the door. At the store. Dog, screamed Gertrude. I know it, Otis told her, and then Gertrude got real quick. He sit on the top of the fish tank and cocked his head from one side to the other, looking at Winn-Dixie, and Winn-Dixie stared back at her. He didn't hardly move and didn't wag his tail. He didn't smile it. He don't sneeze. He just stared at Gertrude, and she stared at him, and then she spread her wings out real for a flow and landed on top of Winn-Dixie's head. Dog, she crowed, and Winn-Dixie wagged his tail just a little tiny bit, and Otis said, "You can start on Monday." "Thank you," I told him. "You know you won't be sorry." On the way out of Gertrude's pets, I said to Winn-Dixie, "You are better at making friends than anybody I have ever known. I bet if my mama knows you, She would think you were the best dog ever. Winn-Dixie was smiling up at me and I was smiling down at him, and so neither one of us bumped right into Sweetie Pie Thomas. She was standing there sucking on the knuckle of her straight fingers staring in the window of Gertrude Pet's. She took her finger out of her mouth and looking at me, her eyes were all big and round. Was that bird sitting on the dog's head? She asked. She had her hair tied up in a ponytail with a pink ribbon. But I wasn't much of a ponytail. It was mostly ribbon, and a few strands of hair. Yes, I told her. I've seen it, she said. She nodded her head and put her knuckles back in her mouth. Then she took it out again real quick. I seen the dog in church too. He was catching a mouse. I want a dog just like it, but my mama won't let me get no dog. She says if I'm real good, I might get to buy me a goldfish or one of the garbelly. That's what she says. I can pet your dog. Sure, I told her. Sweetie Pie struck it when Dixie had so long and serious that his eyes dropped half closed and drool came out of the side of his mouth. I'm going to be 6 years old in September. I got to stop sucking on my knuckle once I'm 6, said Sweetie Pie. I'm having a party. Do you want to come to my party? The van is pink. Sure, I told her. Can this duck come? She asked. You bet, I told her. And all of a sudden, I felt happy. I had a duck, I had a job, I had Miss Franny Block and a friend, and I had my first invention to a party in Naomi. I didn't matter that it came from 5 years old, and the party was until September. I didn't feel so loudly anymore.